Welcome back. In our big story today, tensions are escalating in the Caribbean as the U.S. military continues seizures of vessels near Venezuela. A U.S. official tells ABC News that the Coast Guard is actively pursuing another ship after seizing another oil tanker over the weekend. The Coast Guard also seized an oil tanker off of Venezuela's coast earlier this month. And the South American country is now accusing the U.S. of alleged theft and hijacking, while the Department of Homeland Security says it will continue to pursue what it calls the illicit movement of sanctioned oil. Former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Jimmy Story joins me now for more on this. And Ambassador, first, this is a significant escalation in the pressure that the U.S. is trying to put on the Maduro regime.
100%. I mean, this is opening up an entirely new front, an economic front. And what's interesting here, unlike the Skipper, the second vessel, the Centuries, that was taken was not a vessel that was on a sanction list, and it was also flying a legitimate flag. It was flying a Panamanian flag. Now, the government of Panama may decide to deregister that craft, that vessel, take the flag away, if you will. But this is slightly different. So this is a very interesting case for me. The Bella 1 is the other vessel the Coast Guard is currently tracking. That is a sanctioned vessel flying a flag of convenience. So we'll see how that one shakes out over the next hours.
Yeah. Well, and I'm curious. Does this look like we're headed towards war?
We're definitely not headed towards war. I think we're headed towards a confrontation for sure. I believe for quite some time that you don't put this amount of the U.S. Navy off the coast of Venezuela merely to interdict drugs. I think what we're seeing now with this economic interdiction of the oil tankers is opening a new front of pressure. We may end up having, as the president stated repeatedly, kinetic impacts inside of Venezuela. Certainly, we're still having discussions with the Maduro regime seeking his exit. I'm hopeful that he does depart. So I wouldn't call it war, but I do believe that there's a heightened chance that we'll have some kind of kinetic activity in Venezuela. Yes.
Well, and what does it mean that more and more countries in Central and South America are weighing in here? We heard from Brazil's President Lula, who said that U.S. intervention could be catastrophic. Panama, you mentioned that other vessel. Panama's foreign minister said that the tanker recently intercepted by the U.S. did not respect maritime rules. In your estimation, is Maduro winning the moral outrage argument down there?
Absolutely not. Actually, a bunch of recent surveys were done where over 50%, I think the number was 53%, of regional respondents actually requested a U.S. intervention in Venezuela, which is vastly different than the same polling done in the United States that has it somewhere between 18 and 30% support some kind of an action. You got to remember, I think the important thing to keep in mind here is that almost 9 million Venezuelans, 25% of the population, have departed that country because of the dictatorship itself. So the countries in the region are already suffering from the instability that having so many desperately poor people bring. The largest migration in the history of the hemisphere. I do not believe Maduro is winning the public opinion fight in Latin America whatsoever.
Understood. Well, and the other thing, as the Trump administration is pushing for this regime change, you can't always dictate what comes after. And so I guess I'm curious, what gives you certainty that this is the path forward, knowing that, there could be a vacuum in Venezuela that leads to uncertainty?
Well, certainly, I think that the most difficult part of this is the easiest part of this is Maduro departing. And I do think that the difficult part comes next. You have a country that is riddled with illegal armed groups. You have FARC and the ELN and Hezbollah, other groups that are operating freely inside of the country. And you've had a country that's been deinstitutionalized for 25 years. So the institutions no longer really function as they should. You don't have an independent judiciary. You really can't trust anybody. Even last week, on trying to leave the country, Cardinal Porras, the highest ranking Catholic figure in the country, had his passport annulled, and he was unable to leave the country. So I think it'll be difficult to put it back together. But the Venezuelan people spoke. Over 70% of the people voted Maduro out of office. And you have to figure out how you put the pieces back together again. You have an elected president, Edmundo Gonzalez. You have the leader of the opposition, Maria Corina Machado, who they have developed a plan. It's going to take support not only from the United States, but from the region to put this together. And I don't think it'll be linear. I think you'll have ups and downs as you're trying to restore democracy that has been, undermined for so long in the institutions of state that have been beggared for over 25 years.
Understood. Former Ambassador Jimmy Story, hey, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Alice.